everybody and welcome back to my channel. I hope you're having a lovely day so far. So in today's video, as you can see from the title down below, we are diving into the Beauty Bay Brights palette. I got this in the mystery box that I unboxed a while back now. I will link that video up here. So I'm going to be swatching it all and hopefully creating some sort of look. If this is the first video of mine that you have seen, then welcome. My name is Millie. I make videos just like this all the time. I am always testing new products, creating different looks, all that good stuff. So if you are into that, I would love it if you would subscribe down below. And if this isn't the first video of mine that you've ever seen, I have dyed my hair. Yes, I do look different from the last videos that you have seen. I have now got a lot of red in my hair. I'm still figuring out how to do my makeup with red hair. Still figuring that out. Today we're going to be playing with a lot of colour, so let's just dive straight into the swatches. So this is the Bright 42 pan, so obviously it is absolutely huge. We have every single colour that you could ever need in this palette. So the first row is all of your nudes, then we've got pinks, yellows, oranges, reds, greens, blues and purples. We've got a really great selection of mattes and shimmers, so let me swatch these on my arm and then I will be right back. Okay, so this is all of the shades swatched out. I definitely have a favourite section, definitely have a favourite colour. I wonder if you can tell which one it is. Anyway, this is the top row, so this is all of your neutrals. Pretty much every neutral shade that you would need to build a really great colourful look. So all of these will come in really handy with all of these colours. Then we have the pinks, which are here. And again, really, really great selection of pink shades, shimmers and mattes. And it is also worth noting that I have the 9-pan version of the berries, the earthy and the midnight palettes from Beauty Bay, and I don't think that in the 9 pans these colours are duplicated. I haven't checked, but I don't recognise the names, so these will definitely work alongside those ones. Then row number 3 here is your oranges and reds, and just look at how intense these reds are down at this end. They're so bright, so pigmented, such an intense colour payoff. Really, really impressed with those reds. Then we have the greens down here. So again, I don't think that these ones are duplicated in the earthy palette. I will double check and put it on screen if I'm wrong, but we've got yellows and a really great selection of greens leading into the blues. Now this shade here, which is called Lagoon, I knew just by looking at the palette that this would be me all over, and look how intense that shimmer is. It's so pretty, but you also have a great selection of like deeper, darker bluey tones so that you can really build a look. Really great selection. And then lastly we have the purples, and again, really great tones, a really great variety of more like brighter purpley tones and darker to build the look. Really happy to have all of these amazing tones in my collection. So I think I'm going to do my eyes first. So I will go in with concealer. This is also an eyeshadow primer, so I will use that all over the lid. This is the Collection Lasting Perfection Stretch Concealer and Eyeshadow Primer. I use this in the shade 4, so I'll put a bit of that on the brush and just start working that all around the eyes, across the lid, and also just sort of all over that area to cancel everything out, and then I can build the colour on top of that. I do like using this concealer when I'm using a new eyeshadow palette. It just makes the colours really pop, they look really vibrant, and because this is really creamy, it makes those colours really stick and really pop to the best of their ability. So I will just do my brows before I move on to the eyeshadow. I just prefer doing it that way. So this is the Body Collection Eyebrow Definer Pencil. This is in the shade Dark Brown. And again, I'm still like figuring out brow colours. My hair is a very, very different tone to what it was before, so I'm still figuring this all out. but I will just quickly scribble some brows on and then I'll be right back. Okay, so that's the brows on. I will zoom you in and let's create something entirely colourful on these eyeballs. So obviously I want all of these blues. Obviously I want to use that Lagoon shade, this one here, like that is just calling out to me. I'm also very interested in like the oranges, so I'm thinking maybe something orangey with Lagoon on the lid. Do we like the sound of that? Possibly. I also really like these matte shades here, Oasis and Labyrinth. They are really beautiful, like tealy colours, and if you are not aware, that is my favourite colour. Like these and this shade are my favourite. So I think I'm going to do something orangey, maybe a little bit warmer, and then with these sort of shades on the lid. I think we should just try it. So I will go in first with, I'm going to use mostly the Beauty Bay brushes that I got recently. So this is the Round the Blend brush. This is quite a precise tapered blending brush, and I quite like this for like getting my crease colour on quickly. So I will go into the shade Tangerine Dream, which is a matte, tap off the excess and blend out the creases. Obviously I haven't set this primer, so that is to be expected, and I will start working this into the crease all the way along. So then I'm going in with a slightly smaller, flatter, more dense brush, and I'm going to go into the shade Heatwave, which again is a matte shade, tapping off the excess again, and I'm going to just stamp this really tightly into the crease and keep that more on the outer corner, just to try and build up that orangey colour further out there. And then I'm just going back in with that first brush with the Tangerine Dream shade, buffing over the edges. I am going to, of course, I'm going to add a wing, and I'm going to like clean up under here before I move on to the rest. So I'm just sort of creating this outer corner into that shape. Okay, so that's nice and blended, and it's also sort of starting to be that shape that I want. So I'm just going to go in with a really small pencil brush, and I'm going to go into the shade Hot Stuff, which is a matte red, and I'm going to stamp this on the outer corner of the lid. And I don't want this blended out too far at all, I just want that intensity on the lid. And then I'm just really lightly going to buff over that top edge of that with the denser brush that we just used. And I think that that is all of the orangey shades that I want. So I'm going to take a flat brush. I love this brush specifically for adding more concealer onto the lid and cutting the crease. I can't tell you what it is. All it says is Urban Decay, and I've never owned an Urban Decay palette, so I don't know where this came from, but it's the perfect shape for adding concealer onto the lid. So I'm just going to work some more of that concealer into the brush on the back of my hand, tap it onto the lid, just so that there's an extra sticky base for that next colour to go onto. So I don't necessarily need this to be completely neat, thankfully. I don't need this to be completely like a complete straight clean line. I just wanted that to be tacky. So what brush am I going to use? I'm going to use this one, which is called the Shortlist, and it's a very dense, short, bristled brush, but really, really dense. And I'm going to just go straight into that Lagoon shade, and I'm going to tap this onto that damp concealer. Oh, look at that shade with the oranges. Oh, I love it. I love it. So I'm just going to do the same on both sides. I love these colours together. Oh, I just think they look fantastic together. Like, you get the real contrast between the red and the teal, like turquoisey shade. So I'm just layering up that teal shade. I'm just going to go in with my finger just to add a little bit more intensity. The reason I use the brush first is because that concealer is so tacky. I feel like it just gets messy if you use your finger straight away. Perhaps if you'd set that with a lighter colour, then it maybe wouldn't be so messy, but I have just found, with my own personal experience of using that concealer for a very, very long time, that's the best way to do it. So adding more of that greeny, tealy, turquoisey shade with my finger, and that really just intensifies the shimmer as well. I've got some under my eye there. I'm not worrying about that, I will clean that up. So I'm going to go back in with that blending brush into the Heatwave shade, and I'm just going to blend these two together on the lid, on that space there. A little something like that. These shimmers and mattes work so well together, like they just blend together like a dream. They're so easy to use. I love them. So I'm just wiping off that brush on my trouser leg, and I'm going to go in with nothing on that brush and just very, very lightly buff over this edge here. Like I say, I didn't necessarily want that to be like a really stark line. I just needed the concealer there so that that shimmer would really shine. So I just want those to blend together a tiny bit more. I'm going to go in with a really, really tiny pencil brush, the teeniest, tiniest little pencil brush that I've ever seen in my life, and I'm going to go into the shade Frosted Lime, which is a bright green, and that's a shimmer. I'm just going to try and lighten this up on the inner corner a little bit. I want to try and use as many colours as I can today, while still having something that's a little bit cohesive, is my hope. Yeah, that adds a little bit of something, something, doesn't it? I like that shade. And then I will go in with the shade Bumblebee, which is a shimmer, but that's just a little touch lighter. Ooh, and brighter. I'll tap that onto the inner corner. Obviously, I still need to clean up around there, but this is sort of the vibe I'm going for. So we have pretty much every single colour on my eyeballs, so I'm just going to, not blended that very well there, just going to take a cotton pad with some micellar water on it and clean up and also sharpen that outer corner. So that is looking much better now that it is cleaned up. It's looking much more controlled and not so much like a mess. So I'll zoom you out and we'll finish the rest of the face, and then we'll come back and do something under the eyes. What colours are we thinking? I'm not sure yet. So firstly, I am going to go in with a primer, and this is a new one that I was sent from Relove. This is the H2O Hydrate primer, and my skin is just so dry and thirsty at the minute that I definitely need all of the hydrating base products. So I'm going to take one pump of that. That's really like, it's like a gel. That's a really strange feeling. Oh, it's got a very strong scent. Not sure how I feel about that. Oh, that feels lovely though. That feels really nice and hydrating. Can you see how like juicy that's made my skin look? I like it. So for foundation, I'm going in with another name that's got hydrating in it. This is the Collection Hydra Serum Foundation with hyaluronic acid, which is what I need. I have this in the shade 5. So I'm going to just tap this all over. This is a really great like medium coverage, really nice and hydrating. And then in with my Real Techniques, what are you, Seamless Complexion brush, work that in. I'm going to go in with the same concealer, the Collection Stretch Concealer, and just go back over these eye bags, and also just sort of try and brighten down the centre of the face a little bit. So the foundation I wore in the shade 5, but this concealer is in the shade 4, so it's the next shade lighter, and I'm also taking that concealer right out underneath where we cleaned that outside corner. Then I'm going in with the Revolution Ultra Cream Bronzer in the shade Light that, just as I picked up, I dug my little finger into. Does that count as hitting pan? Scraping into pan. So going in with the Expert Face Brush from Real Techniques, I'll just try and like smush these bits back down, something like that. Working it into the brush on the back of my hand because this is so incredibly pigmented, and I will just start to find all of these facial features again. Cheekbones, you know, around the outside of my face, all of the stuff that is missing from my moon face. And then for blusher, I'm going in with the Revolution Super Dewy Liquid Blush in the shade Flushing For You. So again, I'll just work some of that into the brush on the back of my hand. Well, like the side of my hand. The back of my hand is covered in eyeshadow. So I'm just very, very, very lightly going to tap over with a little bit of the Revolution Pro Hydra Matte Setting Powder. Just want a little bit of this sort of down the centre and like under the eyes, because that concealer is really like emollient, really creamy. I just find it can look a little bit reflective, which isn't the vibe that I'm going for. So I just want to set down the centre a little bit, but everywhere else is fine. So I'm very, very quickly just going to add a wing. Where did I put it? Here. The Profusion Everlasting Waterproof Liquid Liner. This liner is fantastic. It's got a brush tip, so it's really, really easy to use, and I do believe that you can get this on Amazon. So I will leave it linked down below, but I'll be right back when I've got a wing on. So now I'm just trying to think what colour I want on the bottom lashes. So obviously it's gone quite a lot darker now with that wing. I'm wondering if I want like Oasis, that tealy shade that I was talking about. Maybe that on the outer corner and then something more orangey on the inner corner. So it's like the opposite of what we've got on the top. Yes, I think I'll do that. So I will go in with, do I want this one? No, going in with the Multitasking Master, which is a slightly smaller brush, into that Oasis shade. Tap off the excess because obviously we've done our base now. I'm going to stamp that on the outer corner of the lower lash line. And I'm almost like blending this into that liquid liner so that it's sort of a little bit smoother on the outer corner. But happy with that colour, I am of course going to blend it out, wiping off that brush on my trouser leg again, and then I will go into Tangerine Dream, that first orange shade that we used. Whew, that's very dusty, and I will stamp that on the inner sort of half of the lower lash line and blend that together. I'm just going to blend over all of that with a clean, fluffier brush, just so that it isn't so harsh on the edge, and just build up the colour as I see fit, which obviously means add more, blend until there's just colour all over your face, in my case. So then lastly, I'm going to go back in with that teeny tiny little pencil brush into the Bumblebee shade that we put on the inner corner. I'm just going to add a little bit more of that and join it up with that orange on the lower lash line. And I think that that is all of the eyeshadow on. Yeah, I am so happy with how all of that has turned out. I really, really like that. So I'm going to quickly just go off and add mascara and some sort of lipstick, and I will be right back. So that is me done. So the mascara I used was the Maybelline Lash Sensational. I also have the Rimmel Nude Scandalise eyeliner in my waterline just to brighten things back up again. The lip liner is the Rimmel Rose Addiction that I always use, and the lip gloss is the Beauty Bay lip gloss in the shade Candy, another one that I got in that mystery box. And that is me done. Let me know what you think of this look down below. Is this the sort of look that you would wear? I absolutely love it. I absolutely love colour, so obviously I absolutely love wearing every single colour I possibly can on my eyeballs. Let me know if there's any other like colour combinations that you want to see from this palette. I'm definitely excited to play with it some more. I have also recently reviewed this palette that's hiding just here, the Neutrals palette, which is a very different vibe, but I love both of them. I knew that I would love this bright palette. When I saw it, I actually welled up a little bit. I just love these colours. So if there's any other colour combinations that you want to see from this palette, you want to see me try them out all together, then do let me know. I'm more than happy to do that. If you want to see that neutrals palette reviewed, I will leave that linked down below as well. I also have a whole playlist dedicated to swatching and trying out all of the Beauty Bay palettes that I have. I absolutely love them. I knew I would absolutely love this one as well. If you are interested in that, I will link the playlist. But I hope you have a fantastic rest of your day. Thank you so much for watching. Bye.